everybody, Ghostblade 1062 here with another locomotive review. Today we will be looking at the newly released Class 59 steam locomotive from the Deutsche Bahn, made by Trix, in the operating condition of 1949. And now, let's move on to the unboxing. Alright, taking a look at the box, we have our Trix logo on the front with the shadowed in locomotives. On the bottom of the box, we have the Trix contact information and address, as well as electrical information and disposal information. The back and top do not offer any additional information. However, the left and right sides do offer us some product information. Starting with the product barcode, under which we see that it is a Class 59 steam locomotive. And here we have a picture of the locomotive itself. It is an Era 3 locomotive, so just past World War II going into the mid-60s. It is DCC equipped with an MFX decoder. It has Railcom and sound equipped as well. And it is set to NEM standards. And the product ID is 25059. Taking off the outer sleeve, we get our first look at the locomotive in its clamshell. And in the back of the packaging here, we have a folder with all of our paperwork. Right, that's it. To start off with, we have our instruction booklets with a total of 9 different languages. And here we have our safety information, operating instructions, programming instructions. We have our function chart. As well as our CVs. And then towards the back of the book, we have instructions for attaching additional detail parts, installing a smoke generator, traction tire changing, coupler exchange information, oiling instructions, as well as an exploded diagram of the main body and the tender, as well as a list of parts. We also have the advertisement slip for the Trix Club and our warranty card. And now, pulling off the outer sleeve of the clamshell, first of all, we have this little baggie with our detail parts, including our piston rods, we have brake lines, and we have our coupling hooks. And finally, we have the locomotive itself. And right off the bat, it is super heavy. And just from the feel of it, I can tell the whole body is made out of metal. And next, we will move on to the detail overview section of the video. Alright, time to take a closer look at the locomotive. Starting at the front here, we have our NEM shaft for our front coupler, which I will be attaching during the rip track segment. And right above that, we have a coupling hook. On either side of, we have our buffers. And above that, we have our headlights on our corrugated steel walkways here. Then we have our smoke box door with our number plate right on the front. This being 59032. And we have some nice molded in detailing here as well for the riveting, as well as the hinge detailing on the side here. Now moving on to the side of the locomotive. Starting at the front here, we have our leading truck in front of the cylinder. Then we have our piston and valve gear, sorry. Couldn't think of the word for a moment. Which is very nicely detailed. And then just between the second and third axles, we have a set of steps going up to the boiler. And this locomotive, as we can see, has a 212/0 wheel configuration. Moving up to the boiler, we have all of our piping detailing for along the side here. We have our sand dome. We have our dynamo. We have our compressor and air reservoir tank here. We also have this ladder going up to the top of the boiler to the sand dome. And right behind that, we have our separately fitted whistles. And there we go, now I got some focus. Moving further back, we get to our cab, which is open in the back. It is not a fully enclosed cab. We do, however, have our front window here and one side window that is closed and one that is open, as well as some really nice riveting detailing along the cabin. We again have our reporting marks here, as well as our road number. And down here in the corner, we have the operating area of the locomotive. And then moving towards the back of the cab, we have a ladder going up to the driver's cab with a door here, as well as on the tender we have a ladder going right alongside that. On the tender itself, we have our capacity information, as well as some really nice riveting detailing along the main body. We have a nice looking coal load as well, though it is a bit too shiny in my opinion. That is something I will at some point in time be looking at changing. Moving down to the trucks of the tender, we have our suspension detailing here, as well as our brake detailing on the underframe. And moving towards the back, we again have another set of steps going up with our grab irons here. At the top of this step, we have our rear lights. And then here we have our water filling hatch for this side of the tender. And looking at the back of the locomotive, we again have our NEM shaft. This one already has a coupler in it though. And right above that we have the coupling hooks. Then towards the outside of the buffer beam we have our separately fitted buffers with these small holes right beside for the brake lines. And then right above the buffers we have our tail lights. We again have our road number on the back here as well. Then we have the water filling hatch for this side of the locomotive. And again, pretty much all the same detailing on the tender body and the locomotive cab. On this side again we have some nice piping detailing on the boiler. And all in all, a very nicely detailed locomotive. Lots of weight to it, but that is to be expected given that the boiler, cab, and main frame of the locomotive as well as tender are all made out of metal. Looking at it from the top, here we do have these roof hatches for airflow. And we can see inside of the smokestack, as this locomotive is set up to be equipped with a smoke generator unit. And that covers the detail overview portion of the video. And next, we will move on to the rip track segment. Alright, time for the rip track segment. To start off with, we're going to verify the wheel gauge on the locomotive and tender with the NMRA standards gauge. Starting on our lead truck here. And we are engaged, though it is engage, though our flanges are quite deep. Now moving on to the axle drivers, and we can see here we have two sets that have traction tires on them. Axle 1 is good. Axle 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So all of our drivers are good. Now on to the tender. Axle 1 is good. Axle 2 is good. Axle 3 is good. And axle 4 is good. So now we can mount the knuckle couplers that I will be using. And I'm using Eve model number 19s, as I found these to be quite reliable actually. And now to remove the rear coupler from the tender. And this one is putting up a bit of a fight. Gonna put the locomotive down so that I don't damage it while fighting with this coupler. Wow, this coupler is sitting real tight. I don't think I've had a coupler give me this much trouble on a locomotive before. Holy crap. Trying to remove this while not wrecking everything is a bit of a challenge. There we go, finally. That put up quite a lot of a fight, and there we go. I did warp the coupler a little bit, but not in a insurmountable amount. Nothing that can't be bent back into place. Okay, that's that. There we go, that's the coupler fixed. And now to put the new coupler in. And now to just put the locomotive back on some track to verify the coupler height. Right, there we go, that's the locomotive back on the track, and rear coupler is good. And now for the front coupler. That one is also sitting at a good height. So now we are ready to take the locomotive over to the track for a function test. Alright, time to test the functions of this locomotive. Starting with function 0, the directional lighting. Here we have the headlights, and setting the locomotive to reverse, the tail lights come on. And these lights are a warm yellow color. Function 1 activates the smoke generator, which is not installed. Function 2 is the operating sounds. And with this, we'll also check the sounds for wheel rotation, starting on speed step 1. We have nice slow speed control. Alright, moving on to function 3, the long whistle. Function 4 is the dynamic braking off. Function 5 turns off the brake squeal. Function 6 is the shunting whistle. Function 7 is the air pump. Function 8 is steam blow-off. Function 9 is coal shoveling. Function 10 is the ash grate. Function 11, the water pump. Function 12, the injector. Function 13 is rail joint sounds. Function 14 is the conductor's whistle. Function 15 is unassigned. However, we'll move on to function 16 now, which is coal filling. Function 17 is water filling. Function 18 is sand filling. Function 19 is sanding. Function 20 is coupler sounds. Function 21 is the safety valve sounds. Function 22 is the shunting lights, which enables both the lights on both ends of the locomotive. Function 23 is shunting mode, which also activates the shunting lights. And even more refined slow speed control. Function 24 is the generator. And finally, function 25 is headlights in conjunction with the generator. And that covers all of the base functions of the locomotive. And now I'm gonna give it some time to run in. And once that is complete, I'll return with some run-by footage of the locomotive. Alright everybody, this concludes my review of the new Class 59 Steam Locomotive from Trix. And all in all, it is a very beautiful model. It is running very smoothly. Though I do find that the motor is quite loud on it. But aside from that, there is no issues with it running. It managed to get through the switch, in which I usually have locomotives and freight cars derail without issue. Even pulling a train through that switch without issue, without any derailments, which is a very good thing to see, as I've had a number of locomotives derail on that switch. The detailing was also very nicely done on it, and it's that with the whole body being made out of metal, it's got really solid weight to it, which will allow for it to pull quite a bit. It also, again, had no issues coupling up to the train with the couplers that I put in, though the rear coupler did give me some trouble with getting it removed. But aside from that, it is an amazing model and a great addition to my collection. That being said, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like and a comment, and subscribe for more model railroad content. Have a great day, everybody.